What you're looking at here is the new 2020 Genesis G90, and it is one of the better looking new car designs I have seen from any luxury manufacturer. In this video, we are talking to the gentleman behind this design to find out why this car has some of the cool features that it does.
Hello, my name is Jin Kim. I'm a senior designer from Genesis Design, Seoul, Korea. I was the design lead of G90 design program. G90 is technically a facelift model, but for this particular model, we decided to take extreme level of modification range, simply because we wanted to adopt our latest design philosophy in it, design character in it. So starting with the front, we updated the whole front fascia. Hood is new, fenders are new, bumper is new, quad lamp is new, and our signature crest grille is new.
The overall design language here in the Genesis is driven by these sharp polygons, and you can really see them here in the grille, but the massive grille itself is actually formed in the shape of that polygon. It's like a little diamond.
It also, every edge of this diamond, it reflects like light during the day. So it also has a jewel-like effect as well. And same pattern repeats on our signature quad lamp, as well as our 19-inch wheel detail.
But that theme carries out throughout the vehicle. I mean, take a look down here in the headlights. If you look super carefully, you'll see it's made up of little tiny diamonds that illuminate when the daytime running light is on. Of course, diamonds there in the wheel, but even on the interior, if you look, for example, here at the seat back, more of that diamond design. So it's very cohesive. All right, here we go for a quick loop in the Genesis G90. This vehicle competes with cars like the Mercedes S-Class, BMW 7 Series, Lexus LS, and that is one tight group of competition. So the Genesis really has to do something to stand out. And on the outside, it stands out. I love the headlights, the big bold grille. Some of you out there may not like the grille so much, but I think it gives this car a really distinct character. But you see, as distinct and bold as the outside is, I think they could have done a little bit more on the interior in terms of design. So I love the quality of the materials. There's leather, soft leather on absolutely everything. But the overall design just looks a little bit uninspired to my eye in here. It's just kind of flat and upright and very simple. Now, expertly put together, beautifully assembled, but just not very exciting to look at when you compare it to something like the inside of a Mercedes S-Class. Having said that, ride and handling is sublime in this car, and that's because Genesis finally understands what a lot of the Germans don't. And in America, we drive straight for a long time, uninterrupted. And this car makes no pretenses of being sporty. It's just soft, it's comfortable, it's refined, and it's very quiet. And in this class, that is exactly what I want. There are two engines available, a 3.3 liter V6 that makes 365 horsepower and a 5 liter V8 that makes 425 horsepower. But frankly, neither of those power numbers really matter because this car is never going to be used to hustle around a track or go all that quickly around these canyon roads. It's just built to float along gently, quietly, with utter refinement. And that's what it does super well. These wheels here on the Genesis are probably my favorite part of the design, and it's certainly the thing that stands out the most because they're a dish-style wheel. You've got a large center portion with an integrated hubcap here that blocks the view of the lug nuts, but it's a very complicated design. I imagine quite hard to keep clean, but when it is clean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now, the best part of this design is even though it looks massive because of its profile here, it's actually only a 19-inch wheel, which means you've got a fairly thick sidewall, which gives this car a brilliant ride over hard road surfaces, something that some of the other German competition with 20s, 21s, even 22-inch wheels have a hard time accomplishing. In the rear here, you'll see a continuous tail light design, and what I mean by that is there's an LED strip that extends all the way across the back. That illuminates red, of course, but let's take a quick look here at the interior. Now there are several different interior colors available for the Genesis G90, and this one is probably my favorite. Seen here in this white or cream color, and it's really set off by this black dash. But look at this. You do have this white piping there across the dashboard, and on the seats you actually have black piping. So I think it's a really elegant design. The overall kind of center console layout here is quite Lexus-like in my opinion. Let's start the vehicle up, show you how that process works. So foot on the brake. Quite simple. But in my opinion, for example, this shifter here is super Lexus-like in its operation. Pull down for drive, push forward for reverse, and then a button for park. You do have an almost iDrive-like center console with silver buttons, and check this out, 2-position heated steering wheel. I did a full kind of in-depth look of the features on this car at TFLnow. Be sure to check those out. One thing I'm not a big fan of are the gauges. They're still analog gauges with a digital center portion, but check this out. When I go left and right, that center portion actually turns into a little blind view monitor so I can see what's on each side of the vehicle. Now that, even though that's nice, I would like to see some more digital integration here on the gauge. It just looks a little bit old school. Here's the deal though, the Lexus LS and the Mercedes S-Class are also beautifully refined. They're also extremely comfortable and super quiet. So is the Genesis more quiet or luxurious than an S-Class or an LS? Well, here's where things kind of start to fall apart in my mind, because these new crop of uber luxurious limos essentially have gotten so good that it takes more to distinguish one from another than just being a little bit softer or a little bit more quiet. You have to go a step further if you're really going to stand out in the class. Now the LS has gone the extra step in quality. I mean, as nice as this interior is, the LS is just a little bit nicer. The S-Class has gone kind of another route. It went swoopy and curvaceous and full of technology, just packed full of technology. So where does that leave the Genesis G90? Well, from the experience standpoint, yes, it's just as comfortable as those other two, but it doesn't go that extra step that the LS and the Mercedes S-Class do. So while the S-Class is chasing technology, the LS is chasing the heck out of absolute build quality, the Genesis G90 just feels a little bit lost. That is until you take a look at the outside, because I think that this is now the best looking car in its class. I see a lot of actually Rolls-Royce in its design. That big upright grille, that kind of squared off headlight design, the flat sides, and the very majestic rear end. I mean, it just screams opulence, and it just screams sophistication. So while the inside is lacking a little bit, and yes, it's full of nice features, the outside is what really makes this car special. You have to fall in love with this design if you're going to buy this car. Here in the rear, the story is much the same. A big fold down center console with additional controls back here for that center infotainment screen, heated rear seats, a separate climate zone, and a ski pass-through, which is very helpful because these rear seats don't fold down. But look at the legroom. So much legroom, and I love these shades, which I can put up and down with a touch of a button. How cool is that?
And towards the rear, the biggest update we have made is the relocation of the license plate towards the bumper. We simply wanted, along with this crisp character line, we wanted to relocate all the contents below that line and keep everything up very clean. Just a simple body color with a lamp signature and a brand name. And this is also our new badging strategy. We have a wing badge up front, and on the rear we have a Genesis text to expose more brand name in the market.
Of course, there is that one other area in this segment that we haven't discussed, and it's a big one. It's the value proposition. Now, Genesis hasn't released the price on this 2020 model, but it is a facelifted version of the current 2019 model. And Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia have been going after this value proposition for a while now, and it works absolutely brilliantly in a more affordable vehicle. But in the past, it hasn't worked so well in this luxury space. So for example, the original Hyundai Equus was a very good car, full of technology, but you know, it just couldn't necessarily convince the S-Class buyer to switch over, even though it was a good value. Same thing with the Kia K900, full of technology and quality, but once again, couldn't quite convince the luxury buyer to go over to Kia. Now, Genesis is trying something kind of different with this new model. I mean, first of all, Genesis is its own company, so they're trying to disassociate themselves from Hyundai or Kia. But more than that, what you're buying when you're buying a G90 is not only the value that you'd find in an Equus or a K900, but finally design and style. Because previous attempts like the K900, like the Equus, just didn't look that good. I mean, there's no way to put it. They kind of looked like copies of other models. What Genesis has done with this new G90 is said, look, we've got the value and we've got, you know, fairly comparable features and we've got the quality, but now you're getting the looks with the value. So you're not getting kind of a frumpy design. You're getting something fresh, something bold, something modern. And I think that's why this Genesis G90 is actually going to be quite successful, because it's, in my opinion, the best looking car in its class. And if they can price this vehicle starting in the low 70s with all this value incorporated, we may have something on our hands here. Even though this car looks entirely new, it's technically a facelift. However, everything but the doors, the roof, and the glass have been touched. So there is very, very little that is interchangeable between this 2020 and the 2019 G90. Thank you guys so much for watching, and head back over to TFLcar.com for the latest and greatest in new car reviews, and let me know, what do you think of the design of this new Genesis? I think we're going to see a lot of these cues carry over to new models in the future. Cues such as the headlights and, of course, this big, bold front end. Thank you guys so much once again, and we'll see you next time.